Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is the Board of Selectmen meeting of 15 March 2016. We made some changes to tonight's schedule, some adjustments. We're going to have some discussion with DPW, some discussion with the Historical Society, talk briefly about our capital projects. Town administrator has a number of reports to render. Originally, we were also going to talk with the Finance Committee and the Board of Assessors concerning a payment in lieu of tax agreement, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. And we are also going to talk with the Finance Committee directly concerning the fiscal year 17 budget, but we're postponing that for a week. To begin, anyone here for public forum? No? We do have one announcement for folks. The Connecticut River Scenic Byway Corridor Management Plan Update Group is holding a public forum. This is something we embarked on with Pioneer Valley Planning Commission actually 2 or 3 years ago to begin with. And the aim here is to update the corridor management plan for the byway, which now encompasses towns on the other side of the Connecticut River, starting with Hadley and going north, to include Hatfield. And so, among other things, in terms of this plan update, Hatfield is to be included. We've had some representation on the working group. Mark Gillott, among others, has been active. And I encourage anyone who would be interested to attend this public forum on the update. It's Wednesday the 23rd, 6 to 8 at the Hopkins Academy cafeteria. Do you have any announcements? No. We have 2 sets of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the Board of Selectmen minutes of 11 February?
So moved.
All right, I'll second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Motion to approve Board of Selectmen minutes of 9 February?
So moved.
Oh, I'll second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. First item, discussion with the Historical Society concerning the agreement between the Historical Society and the Historical Commission. Please come on up.
That's me. Thank you.
Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Do I
Please.
fix the mic here, or am I okay? There. All right. With me tonight from the Society are our board members, John Pease and Kathy Gow, and I am treasurer of the Historical Society. We are not to be confused with the Historical Commission, which is a town body appointed by the Selectmen. We are a corporation, a charitable organization, and our charter dictates that we are in existence to preserve the heritage of the town through educational programs and through preservation activities. To wit, we put on several programs through the year, and Kathy Gow is curator of the Historical Museum at the library. And it's the museum that we'd like to talk to you about tonight. We support the museum financially and with volunteers, and this is all came about via an agreement that dates back to 1992 between the town and the society. With the pending move to Town Hall for the museum, we feel that we have to get some details hashed out in advance of that, so the society can know what it might expect to expend in terms of funds to upgrade the space. The town is obviously has voted money for elevator and other improvements, and the society will also be investing a fairly substantial sum in museum-related upgrades to the space. In addition, the agreement that we have is a little outdated. It predates the creation of the Farm Museum, which we also support with volunteers and financially. And so we would like to suggest that We sit with representatives of the town, the society's board representatives sit with the town representatives and work toward an agreement that is up to date and will work for both parties for the coming museum. I can say that over the years we've had a very, very good relationship, and we're very happy with with what's been going on, and hopefully the town has noticed the improvement in the museum over the past several years. It's a place that now tells a story. Kathy's done a great job with making it a real museum. We've added new lighting. We've upgraded the electricity there. It's no longer going to be hot in the summer, and hopefully we can make some other improvements there while we're waiting for the new space. So, if you have any questions, be happy to answer.
Have you had any discussion at all with the Historical Commission?
We've, of course, George is in Mexico, which makes discussions difficult. But
Well, you could take a trip, business trip.
we felt that since the selectmen were going to be the ultimate arbiters, that we'd, from the town side, that we'd come to you just to lay this out in George's absence, and he knows we've been emailing back and forth with George. We're not going over his head or anything.
No, I don't mean. Do you have some particular things you're interested in? Is there a series of particular things that you're looking for some clarity on or definition of?
Well, the current agreement in legal terms is a little squishy.
Well, it's almost like we need to set it aside from 1992 and different locations and a whole bunch of other things, but.
Yeah, and so we'd like to take all of the terms and conditions, put them on the table, and decide which are applicable to the current situation, which are not, what new terms might have to be introduced. For instance, there are some terms in there regarding insurance, and that at some point the town, and I think with the society, decided that it doesn't pay to insure the articles in the museum, since they're not replaceable in any case. But on second, we've had some second thoughts about that, and what if they're not destroyed? What if there's just maybe some smoke damage or something like that? Perhaps there's a rider that we could put on the policy to insure and be able to restore the articles to their condition or near condition. So it's items like that we'd like to deal with, and then financially, we currently there are dollar amounts, for instance, in the agreement that don't reflect
Reality.
Current items, like $100 in 1992 is not what it is today. So.
Are you interested in doing a draft of what you'd like to see, or
I think it'd be good to
even a topic outline, or we could get
perhaps we could prepare one from our side and
things you want.
Yes.
Make sure to be covered, and then we can do the same thing with the Historical Commission and clean it up.
This is a pretty big thing for us, and we anticipate that we're going to be spending money out of our funds, and we'd just like to know how much. And
Sure.
We don't want to break the bank going in. So.
I just had one other comment. I like the way you said we had approval for the elevator and things. We're going to town meeting in May for those final code requirements, the elevator and the ramp and the fire suppression, so.
Oh, okay, so it's not a done deal yet.
Not quite a done deal. Appreciate your support, though.
Not necessarily far from it, but it is the definite potential problem area.
Okay.
I think to be objective about it and reasonable.
Did you have any questions?
No, I'm fine with that.
We'll be glad to take this on. We appreciate your input in terms of things you'd like to see covered down, and then we can engage with the Historical Commission and try and get this thing put together. But for the moment, just take it under advisement and
Okay.
wait on your input as to things you'd like to see covered. And meanwhile, we'll talk to George and get something started on that end.
Fine, we'll have something to you in about a month's time then, I think.
Okay, great.
Be fine.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I appreciate all the support from the society. John or Kathy, do you have something?
Just to add that this museum move to this structure is pending, but we also have long-term plans to hopefully expand the farm museum, add more space and storage. George is currently working interior-wise to store some, was it?
And like a second
Second
floor,
deck.
second deck in the
To,
part of it.
you have a lot of, what's the word, museum terminology, extras or doubles or things of that.
Duplicates.
Duplicates and so forth, that we need to store, but we also have some volunteers that have drafted some plans for additional space, and hopefully future to have some designated rooms that could kind of show what maybe old kitchens or houses or so forth.
Oh, set 'em up,
That
yeah.
could, be moved around. A lot of people have seen other museums, not the brick and mortar kind, but wooden workshops or,
Right. The problem with the farm museum, like with the historical museum, is that
yeah.
it's so stuffed full of things, because there's no extra room, that in one sense, it ends up being kind of like storage on display, as opposed to having room to have exhibits, like an exhibit of what the inside of a tobacco shop would have looked like, and what the different jobs would have been with, big photos and things people could look at and maybe touch, a setup of what an old kitchen looked like, and when people had to wash their clothes with a wringer, and there's just no room for that now. So the idea is putting an addition on the side of the barn and talking to the town. I think George and some of the board has already talked to the principal of the elementary school, but obviously that needs to be worked out with the town as well.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate
Thank
all
you,
you do.
folks.
Thank you.
We need to engage with George.
George Ashley, I made a note to contact him.
When's he going to be back? Do we know?
Comes back in the spring and spends the winter down there.
I will follow
Capital,
up with him.
yes, sir. Next topic is capital improvement program. The capital improvement, budget improvement program committee convened in December and also in January, and then we reconvened in this month again to make some adjustments. Now, fiscal year 17, as we'll all find, is very constrained. So what the committee has recommended to the Board of Selectmen, and I'm not asking that we take a vote tonight, because we need one more round with the Finance Committee with regard to sources of funds and balancing the 17 budget. But just to go through them so folks have a feel for what's being proposed and what the Capital Improvement Planning Committee suggested or recommended. Fire Department, replacement of some protective clothing, 10 units. That was at $20,000. And they've done this on a cyclical basis there to turn over their gear. A second,
Excuse me just a sec. you need to keep in mind that that's a requirement
Yeah.
by the state. And it serves to protect those who volunteer their services for the most part. So it's not something that we can just push aside, well, we'll take care of it next year. So that's a crucial one.
Well, we prioritize very highly all the public safety, the safety items, and that's, they're good enough to volunteer to do the job. We owe it to them to give them proper gear to do it. In DPW, I'm going to take them out of order than what they are here. One of the things we're going to do is finish up the North Street sewer. We did a portion of it, and then there's about 400 or 500 feet more from the bend in the road on North Street back out to Main Street. Finish up that piece. In addition, we have a requirement, well, in addition then, we'll do the North Street reconstruction after having completed that. So we'll have the sewer all in, and then we'll do the road work. We plan that also in fiscal year 17. There also, we've had some inspections by Department of Environmental Protection, and we have some work off of some findings and issues. And one of them, I think isn't this for our permitting?
Yes.
The INI? One of them has to do with inflow and infiltration. And so we proposed here to do the study in fiscal year 17. And as I recall, that's part of our permitting. It's supposed to be done by the end of December 17.
Correct.
Okay, so, I mean, it's not an optional kind of thing. We need to do it and identify where the leaks are and address them. And we're going to have a discussion a little further along in the meeting about some of the problems that have been identified. In addition, we're looking to complete a master plan, and this was another way to address a whole variety of other issues that were raised in the inspection of our sewer system about maintenance and expansion, and the age of the system, how we're funding it, and a variety of issues that instead of dealing them one by one, it was proposed that we simply do a master plan that would encompass how we would address the variety of issues that have been identified. We're going again for a grant, as we have previously, for another section of the water transmission line. We've come down the mountain from the reservoir. We've gone underneath Route 5 and 10. We've gone underneath Interstate 91. And it ended up, it was late in the year, so they stopped just before going under the railroad tracks, although we have the permit to do so, and did a little piece in front of Brockway Smith on Chestnut Street on the other side of the railroad tracks. And this spring they're going to come in and do the piece underneath the railroad. But our funding ends there, and we still need to get through the most sensitive, environmentally sensitive piece, that is down through and over the Mill River and up to the top of the hill. If we had a break in that area, it'd be very, very difficult to address. So we're seeking a grant. That grant would be for about $600,000. In addition, we're doing a leak detection. Another grant request, and this we've gone through this a couple of times now on Route 5 and 10. What we're trying to do is move that water and sewer line down to the Whately line. You saw what happened when they did the first little piece between Northampton line and Church Street, Linseed Road, filled right in with some business, which is, we need some balance. People want lower taxes. But this is a major undertaking, and the Mass Works grant program has already told us, don't come in with requests that exceed $2 million. So one of the things DPW and consultant we've been working with is trying to chunk out logical pieces along that route that would stay under that $2 million range, and we keep applying, and we'll do that again. Town hall renovation, we talked about that briefly, and that's, again, when you renovate a building and the cost of the renovation exceeds 35% of the assessed value, it triggers the requirement to comply with the Americans with Disability Act. And we've done that on this first floor, and we got a time variance from the Department of Public Safety, the Massachusetts Department of Public Safety Architectural Access Board, to complete the remainder of the ADA requirements no later than, was it 1 September 2018. So we're going back to town meeting this May to ask for the last piece to address the remaining code issues. And as I mentioned earlier, there are 3 of them. 1, fire suppression, and then a ramp on the south side of Town Hall. It's compliant in terms of its slope. It'll be a ramp going up. The elevator, so there's access to all 3 floors. So those 3 things, the fire suppression, the ramp, and the elevator are the 3 things. And we're going to town meeting requesting that on a debt exclusion, so we can get that out of the way. In addition, we've got 2 emergency generators on the capital budget list. One would service this building, and it's sized now, or would be sized such that it would take care of the elevator in case there was a problem there and the power went down. And there's another one would go up to the highway garage. Right now, if the power went out at the highway garage, they don't even have a way to pump gas. So those are the folks you'd want to be out working the storm or whatever the issue was. Get a unit size to take care of that. And finally, another item, 2 other items. One, sewer pump at the elementary school needs to be replaced. And also there was some water service repairs necessary on Valley and South Street, which need to be accomplished before we go back in and repave. Don't want to do the water service, do the paving and dig it up and do the water service repairs. So we get that done, so we get that sequenced properly. Those are the items, and those are the items that the Capital Improvement Planning Committee recommended, along with various sources of funds. There are a number of other requests that were pending, but I'm simply beyond the scope of what we had to work with in terms of dollars. And even the ones we're recommending now, as we dig into the fiscal year 17 budget, some of them may need to be kicked back a year. But we'll close on that within the next couple of weeks. DPW. Couple of items for us.
Excuse me, just in case
Sure.
there's any questions. I don't know if there's any questions from the audience.
Well, I just had a
Yes,
question.
oh.
I don't know if this is the place to answer it, but the fire suppression system,
Yes.
have you made any decisions about what that fire suppression system will be?
No.
No,
So that's still in the works?
still in the works.
Okay.
What we'd like to do is.
Yeah, that's, we were talking with the architect, particularly about the museum.
Right.
I mean, the cost for museum suppression can go from here to here, depending on,
The product,
I mean, is it going to be a chemical? Is it going to be
yeah.
Discussion.
part chemical, part water?
Well, we're gonna try to set up a meeting with the architect for you and
COA.
the COA,
Okay.
because they're gonna be the impact, so.
And then, so the question I had about the generator, so I'm happy to hear that so there's a plan to have a generator.
Yes.
That if the elevator goes out,
right?
Okay.
And it's been sized for that purpose.
Okay.
Phil?
I just looked at this, the DEP notification. Is this about the water at the school? Is this what we're looking at?
Well, I think my interest was when I saw this report about 25% water loss.
Yes.
Yeah, I asked Marlene to stick that on there. What I didn't understand Tony's note about that. He says here, he got a DEP report saying that we have 25% unaccounted water loss, i.e. from what goes out to what's billed. And he was suggesting there's some issue there with the meter readings. Timing of the meter readings and
And he had discussed that with me a little bit, yes, about the timing of when they do the meter reading to when the report goes to DEP. There's like, it doesn't coincide. So if you report 10,000 gallons that you were billing out and the report to DEP is after that, there's a water loss. It looks like there's a water loss. There's now 25% of a water loss. I can guarantee you that, because that would be a major leak somewhere. I mean, we did have some leaks over this season. We had 6 leaks that we had to handle, but we didn't lose 25% of the water.
so it's
just a matter
like,
of
so it's like
reporting.
taking a reading ahead of the farmers using it,
Correct.
and then they're using it and you take another reading and you haven't,
Yes, because
Done
you're
your-
only reading
done
twice
your
a
billing.
year. You're only reading
Yeah.
twice. If you were reading quarterly, it'd give you a better result.
okay, so,
But it's the way that the system works, because you only read twice a year.
Should we be reading it 4
Well-
times a year?
he's,
Well, that
Give us
was-
greater
that-
control?
He's
that-
suggesting that.
That was the plan, to eventually get to there, to do a quarterly billing.
and that's part of why they've been, among other reasons, going to the meter reading, so you can, the drive-by kind, when replacing the meter.
Something
Each
that
year,
took-
he's had some money in his budget to replace a certain number of meters at about 100.
Because right now, we're down to like a week. It takes us a week to read with the meters right now, where before it took a month. So with the Radiohead meters, we can just drive down like Depot Road. You don't have to get out and look. You just can just drive down the street and read the meters, so. It's helped.
21st century.
Correct, correct.
Okay, so,
You know, and then it's just a matter of coinciding that with the collector and seeing if that can happen as a quarterly bill.
okay. Okay, wasn't aware that we'd had any kind of a leak like that, so.
Do you have a time frame that you're projecting, or I mean, is it?
It's really a work in progress to see when we can make this happen, I guess. I mean, because it's not all metered, the meters aren't all Radiohead yet. It's close. And the people, where we have to walk isn't too bad now. So, I mean, like I said, you can do it in a week. It's just a matter of setting aside the time quarterly to do it, and then getting the bills out quarterly. You know, we don't know what the impact on that office is gonna be.
Okay.
I mean, because right now, once they read the meters, you just, you know, they load it in the gun, can load it out of the gun into the computer goes to them, they generate the bills, so it's just a matter of coordinating it.
Roughly how many more meters do we need to?
I don't think, there's just like a handful, there's not many, you know? There's
Okay.
not many. And I think right now, you could probably do it without getting them. It's only taking, you know, a week at the most to read.
Okay. How about the, we were just talking with Kathy and mentioning we wanted to get with COA and others impacted,
As you know, I
museum,
mean,
others
you
impacted
asked me
by.
daily about the
Yeah.
architect, and he hasn't responded to me, so, I mean, I don't know if I have to even drive over there. because that's my next step.
Okay, do it. Don't,
So,
we're running out of time.
Yeah.
We need to do that ahead of
Is
time.
he under contract or she?
no,
No, not right now.
no,
But he's,
We're not a priority,
you know.
well,
from his perspective, their perspective.
he has been helpful earlier. He's come in a couple times and worked with us. Okay, well, if you have to go down there, go down
Yeah.
there. But we need,
You know, and he knows that, he knows that. I
Okay.
mean, the last meeting, he knew we were gonna bring this to town meeting this time. And, you know, he was involved with the waiver, so I'm sure he.
yeah, he went with me, we went to
Yeah,
Boston.
I'm sure he doesn't want a
Okay.
bad taste with the
Well-
waiver board.
We need to nail that down, so please get on him this week. Go visit if you need to. What's the storage items at Town Hall? I don't understand that one.
That's items in Town Hall that need to be stored, or there's no longer a use for items. There are offices that, give up, either, are moving furniture or items out of the office and locating, a place to put them. I have asked, the DPW director to relocate a desk, but actually, we don't need to store that here. That's going to go over to the fire station. But I just,
When do you think that'll be moved, excuse me?
I'm just waiting
It's
to.
the
I think
total
Steve-
distraction for your office. It's
It is,
unfortunate you have to put
absolutely.
up with
It's
it.
taking up too much room.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be moved tomorrow, because we talked to Steven, and Steven said he's gonna have his guys come over and move it during their muster night, so.
Oh, I didn't know the fire
He's gonna take it?
personnel were moving.
He's going to use it?
Yeah, he's gonna use it, yeah.
Going into the training room.
Okay, how about, but larger question, do we have a storage area?
There's no storage here.
Stage.
Yeah, but the only problem with the stage is we didn't put the doors in the stage to get anything up there. You can't get anything up these doors on the stairs, that's the problem. Half of that stuff that's up there, you can't get out.
I think we also,
Sorry,
Go ahead, Kathy.
I'd love to use some of the tables that are in there. If they're not being used, and I think I've checked with Lydia and I've probably checked with you on some of them, Phil. But we could probably use a few more tables up in what we're now calling the textile room upstairs, before the museum moves over there. But it's a question of how to get them out around the corner, down the steps, out the door.
Because a lot of that stuff was put up there before that wall was put up there,
Right.
so it's a challenge.
well, and more importantly, we don't have the personnel to move things, relocate things. It seems to take quite a while before, things can be taken care of. I know the town clerk was also looking to, move some things for the election, and her and I were out here cleaning this back hallway, getting things moved that were stored out here, just in case people were using this back door as an access. So I see that as a problem, not having the personnel to move things when we need them taken care of. I don't know if
I
we,
mean, well, just to say, Lydia asked us to move this table and stuff in here, and we did that morning before the election, so she didn't say anything
well,
about
there's,
there.
Well, we're
there's
not-
been things
it's
out
not-
here.
It's not the immediate, I mean,
It's just,
we need some kind of plan so people could have temporary storage, not to
Yeah.
accumulate stuff. We should access it if we don't need it, but some
these are things that have been sitting out here for quite a while. It just needs to be put away.
And put
And
away.
where do we put it?
That's it. There's
Are
no-
they?
So
well-
it's the
well,
bodies to do it and where?
But is it to be put away or just accessed?
That's the thing,
Well, somebody owns it,
yeah. If it's surplus and you don't need it,
don't, get rid of it.
get rid of it. Because there's really no space here to store anything. The only open spot is the old police station. That's it. There's no other space.
So we use it or lose it. That's-
Right, well, the filters, light fixtures, covers, if there's no use for them or they're no good, then they should be disposed of. I'm not sure where they belong or who put them there.
Well, think about it, give it your best shot as to how we might approach it. You own the facilities, you're so lucky.
Well, at least we get the table out of that office. I mean, that's got to be a priority.
I saw
'Cause it-
Stephen today, he was still
I know that he
waiting to
talked
hear
to-
from DPW about moving it. And I told him I have not heard anything yet.
I got to tell you, I'm not crazy about individuals not insured for that particular purpose doing this kind of
I mean,
work.
if you want to move, we can move it. I mean, but I just thought that they had a communication between Jimmy and the fire chief that the fire department was going to move it Thursday. If they're not going to, then we can surely move it. It's
Just
not a big
verify
deal.
that,
Well, if
that's
someone
all.
can just let me know it's in my office and communicate with me, and then I'd like to let Stephen know, or whoever communicates with me can include Stephen in the email, so he can anticipate somebody.
Okay, so take a look at how we might temporarily store items and who the point of contact is for moving. Sidewalk improvements, I know they're coming back.
Yeah, so be coming back in the spring to put up the signage. You're going to check all the looming, and wherever the seed isn't growing, they're going to, they'll be reseeding if it's not going to come up. The other thing is if there's anything wrong with any of the sidewalks, they're going to refix them. Then there's some work to do across the street here. They're going to redo the crosswalk between the housing project and the park. They put some ramps in there for now, but there's a little bit of work to do by the housing project to take a piece of curbing out of there and to regrade and repatch where that puddle's sitting there, so they'll be moving
great.
that.
Do you, what percentage do you withhold from the overall contract?
Just 10%.
10%. That's more than enough to cover
Yeah,
what we need to have done.
absolutely.
They've done an excellent job, actually, and did it very quickly, and
Yeah, I took a
had
walk
lots
down
of
there.
positive comments about it.
The other day when it was nice, I took a walk down there, it didn't look like anything lifted, so.
No. Yeah, most people paid attention about not using salt on it.
Yeah, they were very good. I mean, they were receptive to our letter, so.
Transfer station,
Like I said before, I don't think that the policy should change.
yeah, but we're looking for the written one that gets handed out to folks and published.
I thought we had drafted something,
Yeah.
and
We
it
did.
still needed to be tweaked, and so we'd make that available for people accessing the transfer station, and then even have it here in the office for those who
Yeah,
pick up
because
permits and.
while we're on that discussion, because we might have a little discussion about the fees up there. And the only reason I'm saying that is because it's costing us a lot of money now to get rid of propane tanks. Between the propane tanks has never been increased, the amount to charge, and the electronics. I mean, to get rid of the electronics box is $825 every time. So, I mean, the cost of the service to dispose of it has gone way through the roof compared to what we're charging. So we're taking a look at it
Okay.
now, because we just did all the propane tanks and tires as well. The tires is,
Jim had mentioned both the propane and the tires to me, and he didn't mention the electronics.
yeah, the electronics is very expensive to get rid of, very expensive.
Well,
Yeah.
we're supposed to have an annual review of fee structures.
Yeah.
Fire department just came in a little while ago and
buildings.
revamped
You know,
theirs,
we
so
didn't really
take a
know
look at
because
yours.
about the propane and the tires, because we don't do it annually. You know, when it comes up, we do it, so we were shocked.
Oh, when you have.
Yeah, we were
Like
shocked
just
at the
those-
cost of the tires,
Yeah,
shocked.
okay,
But,
well,
I mean, you have to, you have to get rid of them, so,
all right, we'll come back with something, at least we break even.
yeah.
Is there, can you put a system in place where it can be done, whether it needs to or not, but at least somebody's assigned a responsibility to check this out, and we can keep updated the cost factors involved?
Yeah, I mean, we've told,
Townspeople know,
yeah, and we've told, like now I've discussed this with, we have Empire Tire who takes our tires. So I've had that discussion with them that, if your rates are going up, can you please let us know? So we can at least adjust as we go along. Because like I said, the tires aren't usually an annual thing, it's a couple years they build up, because we have enough room up there, but sometimes it's cheaper to get rid of them yearly because the cost is less than it was next year.
It's kind of a crapshoot, though.
Yeah,
I mean, seriously.
yeah.
Okay, we'll take a look at the fee structure. Okay, anything else from DPW?
Excuse me.
Well, are we going to do anything in writing for the transfer
Yes.
station
Yes.
for people?
Absolutely.
Just so we don't have any
Yeah,
problems.
I think
in the
it's just a
future.
little bit of tweaking, like you had said, that it's,
Let's set a target date on that so we know when it's going to be
It'll be
done.
done by April. How about April?
April is fine.
Okay.
Mid-April?
We had already, something was already drafted.
Yes, there's a draft.
Okay, so finish the product, okay.
And the other thing I just want to mention while we're on DPW is that now that winter's hopefully over, we're going to be locking the gates again at the town garage, because they've been open all winter for people to access sand and salt. So we're going to be locking them this Friday. Will be the last day. So you'll have to again access the brush pile through the transfer station.
Okay. Marlene?
You have an application before you for the senior property tax work-off program with the town clerk's office.
Motion to approve senior tax work-off application of Ms. Grace Karpinski for work with the town clerk.
So move.
Sorry, second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
The fire chief has requested the Board of Selectmen approve adding language to the fire prevention permits. In your packet there, the memo identifies, it's in bold, a triple fee will be charged for non-emergency work without a signed permit. He's
Yeah.
encountering problems with
And as he
people
points
failing
out, this is the
to-
same kind of language we have with the building
building
inspector.
inspector.
When work is discovered being done that's
It's
not been permitted.
Right.
Is there a motion to approve adding to his structure triple fee charge for non-emergency work completed without a signed permit?
So move.
I'll second. Any other? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Nomination of Inspector of Animals. I'm
Oh, yeah.
requesting the board nominate Scott Pomeroy as animal
Motion to
inspector.
approve. Scott's done this for many years. We appreciate his service. Is there a motion to approve the designation of Mr. Scott Pomeroy as Inspector of Animals?
So move.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Maybe we could put a notation on that, something to the effect of, thank you for your consistent endeavors.
We'll do that.
A long time he's been on there.
We have a,
Request for zoning bylaw change. Board of Selectmen needs to acknowledge
is there a
receipt
motion
of
to
this.
acknowledge receipt of proposed bylaw change from CRD Metalworks and its endorsement on to the planning board?
So move.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next item is a draft copy of the specifications for cleaning services. This is the invitation for bid, and this does include the town hall on a daily basis, emergency services building 1 day per week, and the highway garage 1 day per week.
Right.
This would be, the contract would be for a 1-year period and may be renewed or extended for 2 1-year periods. This service contract would commence October 1st.
Do you need us to approve this, or are you just
Yeah,
giving us for information?
information, and if you have any questions or,
I did a very good job.
so I'd like to get this out as soon as possible. And really, the purpose of this too, to do it early, was so that we had a number we were comfortable with for budgeting purposes.
Okay, well, again, do we need to vote this?
I-
Okay.
I mean, you're comfortable with the
Yes.
emergency services
Yes.
building and highway garage
Yeah,
1 day per week?
we've had multiple discussions about how the frequency and,
Okay. The next item, the Compact Community Initiative. I was hoping to be prepared for that discussion. I haven't had a chance to finish reviewing that. We did discuss this at a previous meeting, and we want to identify, actually, we'd like to submit an application to the state and identify areas that we'd like to work on or improve. And actually, you and I had a brief discussion last week. I was going to put together a proposal.
Okay, we're going to meet next week with the Finance Committee. Can we do that just ahead of that?
Absolutely. We can do that, yeah. The other item, Colonial Power, I'm requesting to postpone discussion on this proposal. Colonial Power met with the board, I believe, the end of January, regarding the net metering. And if
Oh,
we
this-
are going
this
to
is-
move.
This is not, this is the aggregation.
It does,
This is the aggregation proposal, not net metering.
right, aggregation plan, my understanding is it
not
did
net-
include net metering as well.
Not net metering. This is for them to essentially replace Hampshire
The-
cog, who the town had previously voted to proceed with.
That is
for-
correct.
Subject to their approval by the state's DPU, Department of Public Utilities. They didn't get it. So
Right, Hampshire Council has stepped aside. and-
Hampshire Council has stepped aside, and they're saying they've transitioned their authority over to Colonial Power.
Colonial Power, correct. And Colonial Power is hoping we'll act favorably and move forward with them,
Now, there's
which will
a,
require a number of documents to be approved by the town.
well, did you want to take this up tonight, or did you want to do this another time, or?
I would recommend that we take this up at our next meeting.
Okay, there are a couple of things, just, for example, on page 2, town elections are not held in March. Town, that's under the second paragraph, the organizational structure, the town has no charter.
I expect that they
Just,
probably took this from another town.
Yeah, they did. But we've already been to town meeting and got the blessing to go ahead with an aggregation.
You did. Yes, the
People
town did
don't have to
receive that.
participate in it if they choose not to. This has nothing to do with who's going to do their billing, nothing to do with who's going to maintain the polls. It's just bulk buying of the electricity. So,
Which would result in cost savings for each
should result
customer.
in. Okay, well, so you want to come back?
Yes,
All right, well,
please.
Not sure what else. Let's get the agreement cleaned up. And they'll do all the work. They'll pay for the legal work, they'll pay for the educational
will.
materials. Annual report, anything more on that?
Selectmen's annual report, I had talked with Selectman Moriarty. He didn't have any
Okay.
questions or comments to add to the Selectmen's report. And I spoke with Mr. Gahn this afternoon, and he is
Okay, well,
comfortable with it. So
go.
if everybody's in agreement
Yes.
with the report as it was presented at the
Right.
previous meeting, I will submit that
Good.
for,
Excellent.
great.
okay. I'm prepared to review the draft copy of the town meeting warrant.
We're not going to meet. Yeah, we've canceled that session.
No, I knew that. I was wondering why he was here.
Nope, they're going to have a meeting.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, let's just walk through this and just
Sure.
preview for folks coming attractions at town meeting.
Sure. Would you like
So,
me to start,
well-
or did you want to?
I'll go through it.
Or read every other one?
No, we won't read them all. First one article is lists the various positions that are up for election this year. One selectman, an assessor, 2 members of school committee, 1 library trustee, elector under the will of Oliver Smith, cemetery commissioner, 1 member of the Board of Health, 1 member of the planning board, and 1 member of the housing authority, and 1 for the Hampshire representative of the Hampshire Council of Governments. And then we'll have one ballot question, and that has to do with what I was talking about earlier, the debt exclusion question for funding the town hall code compliance items of the ramps, elevator, and fire suppression. Next one just allows the Board of Selectmen to accept grants and gifts. The next one authorizes the town treasurer to do the banking. Article 4 authorizes us to use the state's grant to the town of Chapter 90 funds to maintain our roads. Under Article 5, the town clerk is asking that whenever a 2/3 vote is required, a vote may be declared by the moderator without a count, provided that 7 or more members of the town meeting may challenge such a declaration. Anyway, what he's saying is that if we accepted this particular law, we wouldn't have to go through a head count when it's obvious that there's more than a 2/3 vote, voice vote for an item. Yet it allows for a challenge. The next one, this has to do with, I'm not sure why it reads like this, but accepting another Massachusetts law that says any public office may be closed on any or all Saturdays, as may be determined from time to time. Well, they are anyway. I don't understand. I think the whole purpose of that is such that the town clerk would not have to be open on a Saturday before elections. But sure doesn't say that. The next item is the payment. You recall in the special town meeting, we took advantage of that, and Massachusetts law requires 2 things with regard to payment in lieu of taxes. One, that the town meeting authorize the town to enter into negotiations for a payment in lieu of taxes. And second, it requires that once an agreement is reached by the negotiating parties, the town meeting has the final vote or final say as to whether or not to approve it. And we have a draft agreement. We were going to talk with the assessors tonight. They're not here. And Finance Committee rep. But we have a draft agreement for a proposed project which has been through the planning board on North Hatfield Road. And it has in there a fee schedule of what we might expect. It's a 2.4 megawatt operation. And it's a 20-year agreement. It's comparable to agreements that have been reached with the same firm in Hadley, only we're getting a little more money as presently structured. And it's a nice, steady income stream. It helps the developer because he knows what his due out is to the town in terms of payments in lieu of, and this is in lieu of a personal property tax. The land is still being taxed to the owner, but this is just having to do with personal property. So it's a nice steady income stream for the town that we can count on, and it's a tax stream, or in lieu of tax, payment stream that the developer can use going to his lenders. So it works well for both parties. The next item has to do with authorizing the Board of Selectmen to take care, custody, and control of the land immediately north of the town hall, this just to the left of us here, the former site of Smith Academy, for use as a park. And you'll see as we go on later that, in fact, I think there's a session tomorrow night, Wednesday night, with the Community Preservation Committee holding a public hearing on the plans for the development of the park. The next, this is from the Redevelopment Authority, asking that the care, custody, and control of Center School be taken from the Board of Selectmen and placed under them. The next one, subject to passage of that or not, see if the town would extend the demolition delay moratorium. Right now, as recall, town meeting clearly voted to take the building down. It's been funded to do so. We've cleared with the Attorney General and with the developer, or excuse me, the contractor. The price has been held firm, so I think it's, could be executed, what, by 1 July or so, under the current terms, unless town meeting changes that. Another one, there's the next two articles are one's being proposed by the Redevelopment Authority and the other is by Open Space to put deed restrictions. They can explain why this makes any sense. On the parcel over there, saying that there could be no construction there of any new buildings ever. And then another one that has to do with putting a conservation restriction on a portion of the land behind the center school. The next one is back to what we talked about a couple times now, renovation of the town hall and a debt exclusion. And then some requirement to cover down a deficit in the fiscal year 16 water and sewer enterprise. Next one was to conduct this inflow and infiltration study for DEP and for our use in planning. Another one, again, as we talked about earlier when we were talking about the capital plan, the master plan for sewer. Another one to complete, as we talked about again, the sewer repairs on North Street. And then the water service repairs on Valley and South Street, so that can be paved. The purchase of protective fire gear for the fire department. Our sewer pump at the elementary school. And then the standard ones for Community Preservation Act. They're required by law to put a certain percentage of their funds into certain categories like historical resources, housing, open space, and reserve. It's also one for administration, I thought. I don't see it here. There it is, administration. And then community preservation, subject to their conducting some public forums on these. A project here on the site of the former Smith Academy, a development of a park, and there's some money that they're putting up, and they're looking for the town to approve a certain amount, another $50,000 on top of that, which then could be used as a basis for us seeking a reimbursable grant from the state for that $50,000. And then this just general article setting up, each year we approve, the town meeting must approve certain revolving funds. This is for the building inspection, electrical inspector, plumbing inspector, gas inspection, TPW, and the fire department has it for hazardous waste. And then the general one, setting the salaries and charges and expenses to the town. Any other good news about the town? So that's kind of a preview of upcoming attractions in May. Anything else?
I don't have anything else
Okay.
regarding the warrant. If the board wishes to review the draft proposal for the payment in lieu of taxes agreement, or would you like to wait until we meet with the
Well,
finance committee and
I'm
assess
fine
it?
with how it's structured,
Okay.
but as I mentioned, this is a 2.4 megawatt project planned for North Hatfield Road. Been through the planning board. The developers are asking that we engage with them on a payment in lieu of taxes, in lieu of the personal property tax. Again, the owner still is going to be paying taxes. Covers 20-year period, and there's provisions in here for either expansions of the solar units or reductions or coverage, what happens if there's some disaster there. Proposal starts around the $18,000 a year with a 2% annual increases every year up to about, what, $11,000 a year? Excuse me. Eight starts at 18,000, up to about $20,000 a year. Somewhere around there over, again, comparable to Hadley. And the importance of this and why we need to get on this is, as I mentioned earlier, town meeting approved negotiations, but town meeting also has to approve the final product. And we need to get this thing done before, negotiated and agreed upon before our coming town meeting. So I know we've got the representative of the Finance Committee on the group and a representative of the Board of Selectmen and a representative of the assessors, but we just need to corral the cats and
Need to,
get it done. There's not a lot of controversy.
no, not at all.
It's a good contract, it was well done. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anything else?
I do not have anything else.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.